Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GT4 Championship Finale Season 3, coming to an end here, Round 6 of the Finale 2 races on hand with you today. I am Jesse Lee in relief of Ryan Mawson, and as always, Christian Stricker with me, and new face, of course, to the championship, Stewie in the broadcast booth with us, with the stewards in the other room. Hope you all are doing well. The series finale and 2 races to go, a 20-minute race and a 40-minute race. And Christian, a championship still yet to be decided in silver.
Yeah, obviously last time around, Thiago Lima, he took the Pro Championship by storm and won, I believe, with 7 wins and 1 P2 spot. So he's been very dominant in that category. But here in silver class, we still have, on maths, mathematically, I think 4 people are available to take the win. But realistically, it's only the top 2 who are going to take it, as Olaf Leff is still chasing down Shelgren to try and take that P1 spot in silver, because the 2 people that can still win it, so in 3rd place we have Sam Butters, in 4th place we have Amir Thacker. They're not here today, so it's going to be a fight to the end between Shelgren and Leff.
Well, we wouldn't have it any other way. Thiago Lima, despite the fact not putting together the perfect season, has already won the pro category. There will be many battles besides the top spot, and we will likely bring that to you after qualifying as free practice wraps up here. Christian, you've been here the whole way. It's been a very entertaining championship with 2 different categories of GT4 car. What sort of knowledge have you gained in this championship? What have you noticed since covering this series?
That's a good question, to be honest. I think the main thing I've noticed is how fun these cars are to race with, and just how close they can race with each other for an extended period of time. And they're really, they're quite good to use if you want to abuse your opponents as well. Like you can hit them off the track and won't really mean anything. I mean, obviously, do everything under racing conditions and under the rules and all that, but you can touch each other a little bit and they'll be fine. I think that also adds to the whole racing aspect with these GT4s that just makes them so much more fun. And also these cars are so different compared to each other. In GT3s, I think all of them are quite similar. I mean, some are a bit fast on the straight, some a little bit better in the corners, but you can really notice the difference here in GT4, especially between the cars. I'd say like the KTM and the BMW, where the BMW in the corners not the greatest, but on the straights is an absolute rocket. And KTM, little go-kart in the corners, but on the straights it really struggles. And I think that's just what's so great to see in GT4 racing.
I think that's been my takeaway too, Christian, from the few races that I've been here, is watching the little Alpines get absolutely destroyed on every straightaway, but in the corners, they can make passes around the outside of corners that you're not supposed to be able to pass on the outside of, simply because they weigh less and their wheelbase is so much smaller. So I love that. As qualifying gets started, the normal 10-minute qualifying session, all of the teams will be out on the track at one time. We haven't even mentioned where we are yet. Of course, we're at Kyalami in South Africa.
Yeah, Kyalami, beautiful place to end off a season, I'd say, and it's definitely one of my favorite tracks to drive, and I'm pretty sure it's up there to be a favorite for many other drivers as well. And I think there's no better way to do it, because the scenery is amazing, the track is amazing, and the racing this track produces is also top tier as well.
Well, it's one of those tracks that perhaps rose to prominence due to its involvement in Formula One back, when Formula One had leadership with a spine. And ever since then, I think at a club level, it's always been kept alive. The renovations that happened some years ago, the revival of the 9-hour race here, it just lit a fire and reignited the passion for this fantastic world circuit. And South Africa could not have a better representative of an international circuit than this track. It has a little bit of everything, and it is fantastic to drive. That is, of course, unless you aren't in a rhythm, and then it could be absolutely devastating, as some of the turns here are not hospitable at all. Everybody getting ready to start their first flying laps, getting the tires up to temperature, and we will see what the grid looks like for the series finale. It's hard to believe. It just seems like yesterday we were at Spa, and the chaos that ensued with, I think we had 40 plus drivers on that grid.
Yeah, it has been a quick season, to be honest, and I still remember Spa. There was a few memorable moments of chaos, I think is the best way to describe it. But also rain at Monza was also very chaotic and great to watch. And also the race we had at Brands Hatch, where it was a fight until the last corner, basically, with Thiago Lima, I believe, getting collected in an incident there with I can't remember who it was, but I remember Svenček winning that race. So I think yeah, it's been definitely a great season to watch, a great season to commentate, and I think for these drivers as well, really fun to drive. And I think I believe we have 18 today, and these 18 drivers will be fighting all the way to the end. And yeah, it's gonna be a great one yet again today.
I think we did have 18, but I'm pretty sure we had a very late addition added to pit lane. I believe there's 19 cars that are going to attempt qualifying as we ride on board a lap around here. It is not the quickest lap, but it feels a lot quicker than it is. Half of this lap is almost Monaco-esque, and then there's some flat-out sections in the middle there. Well, we are going up the hill here. And, of course, after that, we'll go through Mineshaft. But it's so difficult, this particular turn at the top of the hill. It's double apex, and it's blind, too. You can't really see where you're going. You have to hit your braking point and basically just turn left and find the curb down through Mineshaft. And then, of course, it's the final couple of turns till the finish. And they're all sort of tighter corners here. This one, of course, very difficult indeed. And you don't want to mess up Cheetah, because that will be the problem turn pretty much all day there.
Yeah, you see with the entrance there into the final corner as well, it's difficult to get right. It's a little bit off camber and quite some high curbs on the inside. But Thiago Lima, first person to set a qualifying lap. He does a 150.8. I believe we saw better laps in practice, and as I'm saying that, Chris Rubeloy manages to get a 150.3, so that is 5/10 quicker than Thiago Lima. That's a great start for Rubeloy there. So I think let's see what, I believe Olaf Leff is the first silver driver to cross the line. We'll have to see what he is able to do. I don't really remember from practice session what he was able to yeah, there it is. All right, 151.3, so the times are coming in. Tires still need to warm up though, because I think it takes about 2 laps for tires to heat up in these cars, so they'll definitely be quicker times. I'm pretty sure we'll see some 49s at the end of this session.
Wouldn't surprise me at all if we got into the 49s. It wouldn't actually surprise me if we got into the mid 49s, but we will have to find out as Harsford comes across the line, slots into 6. Everybody setting pretty equal times, mind you. Even the silver drivers up within a second of the pros. Of course, High Silver, very quick in their own right. Martin Lawrence there. And here comes Phil Roberts, who the Church of Martin Lawrence, the team name this week. I love to see them have fun with their team names as Phil Roberts comes in P9, and Rob Franken will join him right behind him in 10th place. So they'll share the row, at least for right now. That is until the 404. The Scuderia Dacia team goes all the way to 3rd in High Silver. That's excellent stuff. And here's Shelgren, the High Silver Championship leader, and can do no better than 14th place. Certainly they'll be looking to improve.
Yeah, I think Shelgren would need to improve a bit more, because if Olaf Leff takes away 2 wins and Shelgren struggles in these races, he can still lose the championship lead he has, and will lose the whole championship as a result. But yeah, brilliant lap from Alex Poma. I think maybe a bit of the Dacia power from the Nürburgring race joining
there
him
it
here
is. There it is. I like it. Well, Laurie McLaughlin goes second right after Thiago Lima took pole, a 50.154. And something interesting happened. Thiago came into pit lane immediately, finished the lap, didn't even make it down the straightaway, and parked the car, changed something, perhaps just the tires on that car, and immediately left again. I was wondering if Lima would rest on that lap time, but I don't think they have that option because McLaughlin is less than a tenth behind. Here's Neil Pimlott.
Yeah, it's quite easy to forget how quickly this qualifying session is over. It's only just about 3 minutes left, so that gives you an out lap and 1 lap extra. So I think Lima, he's just going in, dropping his fuel load, changing a little bit of tires, and then out he goes again to try and get into those 49s. But I think a lot of these drivers, they just fuel up for the whole session and do 3 or 4 laps.
I think that is the case. The 977 in pit lane, if they want to get an extra lap in here, they're going to have to leave pit lane fairly quickly, currently in the 10th spot. Pyoma gets up to 4th place there, a 50.361, the quickest lap for them, 2/10 off of Lima's overall pace, but still good enough to gap the rest of the high silver field so far. So looking good for them. Wig is actually the 2nd place driver in high silver now, in a KTM of all things.
Yeah, Wig has had some pretty good performances, I'd say, in that KTM. I think when it's been raining, he's been very strong, and usually during the race it falls off a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to see how he's able to maintain this P2 position currently. I think Olaf Leff here is on a great lap as well. Let's see what happens when he crosses the line. What's it going to be? He improves by 3 tenths, which is enough to put him 3rd in class, just ahead of Phil Roberts there in P12 overall. But yeah, I think Wig. It'll be nice to see him do well in the race for once, as he has been struggling in the race pace because the KTM is just that difficult to drive.
I'll put it to you this way. He scared me away from driving the KTM. I've heard so many things about the KTM, so my hat's off to him for driving it as Harwood improves. And Tom Bryant had a little bit of a moment here.
Yeah, I think this is just a classic Chichita curb, and yeah, just bounces over the curb. And
look at how many times that Chevy bounced.
That was, I think that is the smoothest I've seen a car go over that curb. In our esports teams, we call it the death curb, as it usually ends up being
a fair
deadly.
assessment.
Yeah, it's a deadly curb to hit. It's in any car in GT3s, but in GT4s, especially the Chevy, it just looked like didn't bother me too much. Put him a little bit wide, but it was okay for now. And look, this KTM wrestling the car through the S section. That is understeer galore right there.
Oh. Well, a few laps ago, he was up nearly 7 tenths on his previous time. That would have been good enough to put him on the podium. And he since then run a quicker lap. Now only 4 tenths off the overall pace and only about 1.5 or 2 tenths off the pace in high silver, as Alexander Bordai in the 98 has taken the pole position in high silver, just 2 tenths off that pace. Pyoma back into 2nd place, but here is Leff coming to the line. Needs an improvement here if they want to think about fighting for the championship, and it's going to be 9th for Leff. Svinček in 8th place, goes all the way to 2nd. 72 100ths of a second's difference, and they are going to get another lap. We completely overlooked the fact that Thiago Lima has done the 49.860 that you predicted, Christian.
Yeah, I think Thiago Lima just doing what Thiago Lima does best, and puts it on pole with quite some margin. Although this time around it's not been so dominant. I think Svenček's under a 10th behind, and Rubler just over 2 tenths behind, and I think Rubler is also on a lap currently. He's in the red, I can see, with the delta, but it's very fine margins. We'll have to see what he does when he crosses the line. But here we have Franken currently in P17. He's going to improve his lap time. What's it going to be? He jumps up to P14, so he manages to take 2 more positions in class. Promo crosses the line up to P4. So that was a brilliant lap from him, this current P1 in silver. Wow. Out of nowhere.
Absolutely out of nowhere. Was outside the top 10, and now Marco Correa goes 5th place. Palma into the lead in high silver. Alexander Bordai has apparently ruined their lap, so they're going to do some drift exhibition on the front straight as qualifying ends, and Leffa has either invalidated the lap or realized that it is a completely lost cause in the 308 and abandons the lap. Andy Boardman, the Greased Weasel Racing Chevy, hasn't ended. And I've never seen a car, and he's going to go ahead and he's
Has
going to
a
go
big
ahead and
hit.
go to a backup car, I think, on that one, as Juraj Svinček comes to the line, already second, the nearest challenger to Lima. Could this potentially be a fight? And I don't think it is, as they are slowing down.
Yeah.
And that will conclude qualifying.
That was intense at the end, and I think I forget who just crashed into the wall, but that was that Boardman? Yeah, it was.
It was.
Yeah, he's gonna have a little bit of a sore back, but they'll get him into the new race car, and hopefully he'll be ready to go by the race time. But here we have the standings. Do you want to talk us through it?
Well, and first, sort of guidance for everybody at home. Today, there are two races that you can score a maximum of 195 points today. So bear that in mind as we go through the standings, starting with Pro. Tiago Lima has 100 or 940 points. Martin Lawrence, the next nearest, was 730. Andy Boardman, 618, makes up the podium positions so far. Benoit Harwood in fourth place, and Billy Octane, and even far as back as Svinček, Rubliar, Barzagi, McLaughlin, and even Harsvord are all in danger of switching around positions. It wouldn't be anything for Harsvord to go all the way up to about fourth place today, providing everybody else has struggles. But that is the top 10. Keep in mind, 195 points possible today. These are the drivers that have struggled a bit on page 2. Bishir, Pimlat, Nito, Carrera, Ertan, Banfield, Roth, Vanderneet, Linyard, and Apostle are the top 20. And of course, that ends the Pro Championship. And this is the conversation that Christian and I have been having. Shelgren leading with 771 over Olaf Leff 665. So the championship well and truly on. If Shelgren has a poor race, that will do nothing but give Leffa a chance in the 40-minute finale. Sam Butters in third place, not too far out of the woods either in third place. Didn't talk about him much in qualifying. I don't think he's actually here, and neither is Amir Thacker in fourth place. Phil Roberts, Tom Bryant, Paoma Frankenwig, and Bordai round out the top 10 in high silver, all fighting for championship places and points and can find themselves anywhere. Page 2, the top 20, Dauber, Jackson, Grabu, Rasu, Verona, Smith, Gleason, Aprera, Ruminski, and Camprager are the top 20. And of course, these are the drivers who have left the championship. I didn't even know Ryan Gill was even supposed to be in this championship until I just looked at this just now. He, of course, has not taken part. Well, that is the championship standings coming into today. If you saw your favorite driver and you're wondering what is possible, 195 points is possible today, and that will be the points gap that we're working in. And it's basically for the high silver championship, it is down between Shelgren and Leffa, Christian.
Yeah, and there's 106 points between them. I think I don't remember how many points you can score per race, but Shelgren is gonna have to score quite a minimal amount of points, or in both races, for Olaf left to take this championship win. But I think it'll be close. We'll do some calculations after race 1 to see what it stands after that, and then we'll see in race 2 where they have to finish in order to win the championship.
Yes, indeed. We are on the starting grid, taking a look at the cars for the penultimate time this season. The first race, a 20-minute dash, half points on offer for race 1. Race 2, well, you could look at it one of two ways now that I think about it. You could call this a half points race, or you could say the more fun version of that, Christian, is that we double the points for the 40-minute race. And I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, that is definitely the more exciting way to put it. The double points race, or the times 2 XP, or whatever you want to call it. But also, I think we can also say that the second race is the less chaotic one, generally speaking. So I'm still looking forward to this one. Any point counts, as we have seen before, and I think Olaf Leff is gonna pull something out his bag, or he has something under his sleeve, or something along those lines. I'm gonna go ahead and say he might just win this race for silver.
Oh, okay. You're taking Leffa on that. I don't know what to expect. I've seen the championship, but if there's one thing that I've been taught in GT4 Season 3, that's to expect the unexpected. Who would have thought that KTM in the dry would be as potent as it is or was in qualifying? Be paying attention to see what they do in the race. Well, 19 drivers here for the final two races, starting off with the 20-minute race coming at you. Not a lot of laps in a 20-minute race around here, Christian. It's about a 2-minute lap around here with fuel and, of course, in race trim. What are the keys to getting not only a good start, but maintaining a position in such a short amount of time?
Well, I guess these guys just gotta maintain the pressure that they have behind them, not to make any silly mistakes or silly moves, to say the least. I think Kyalami, it's a track that does invite overtaking, but it is difficult to execute. So if the guy ahead knows where to defend and how to do it, then it's basically up to the driver behind to try and unsettle them in some ways. So I think I've definitely looked at these drivers. Some of them will not be phased by any attempts done behind them, and I think that's all you need to do is to survive this race. And then try and overtake, maybe do the classic, what I like to call a mind punt. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. It's 20 minutes, it's Kyalami. It does have a little bit of chaos, especially if the long straight down into turn 1. And we know the BMWs versus the KTMs and stuff like that, that's going to always be fun to watch down the straight, as the Alpines and KTMs just feel like they're on a tricycle when the BMWs are riding a Kawasaki. So we will have to see how that racing is going to look like as well.
Earlier, I made mention about live stewarding. I misspoke. It is Thursday, not Friday, and you will apologize. I will apologize for myself. I'm used to being here on Friday. It is not Friday. It is very much Thursday, and there is no live stewarding on the GT4 races on Thursday. So I do apologize for that mistake when we came on air. Christian, I just got to say, you mentioned something, and I've been thinking about it this whole time. Do you reckon, is it easier or harder to pass in a GT4 car around Kyalami?
I reckon it's easier, to be honest. As GT3 cars, you need to give each other just a little bit more space, and you can't really hang it around the outside as you can with the GT4s. And the Kyalami is quite a wide track, I would say, so you can easily go side by side for the whole lap. And I think that is inviting for GT4 drivers to try. So I think it is easier to overtake in GT4. I say, generally speaking, it is easier, and I think it will be here at Kyalami as well.
Well, folks, here they are, rounding the final couple of turns, coming through the Crocodiles and now Cheetah, and into the final hard left-hander for the penultimate time this season, and the first time today at Kyalami here in South Africa. They will line up 2 by 2 for nearly 10 or more rows in anticipation of going green. They enter the front straight, get into position. They're waiting for the lights and the flag man. The lights will come on. The flag will be dropped. And we are still waiting, apparently. And green as they start way late, almost into turn 1, in contact immediately there between second and third, as that will hinder their progress down into turn 2. Turn 1, of course, the dog leg. 3 wide for the lead early here, and nobody's given up.
Yeah, Alex Poma trying to hang around the outside there. There's 3 cars going into 1. That's never going to end well. And Cruz Rubler off the track. That is the Chevrolet of Boardman off the track as well. And who's that collector? I believe that is Borodai as well. That is a big incident already happening there at turn 2. There was just too many drivers trying to go into the same corner. I believe Alex Poma was sort of just trying to hang around the outside, goes a bit too wide, and then 2 cars trying to take advantage of that, not knowing they'll be all going into the same spot in the next corner. So that's a bit unlucky there. And we see the Alpine of Hardwood trying to go around the outside. He might be able to make a stick into the chicanes. He looks like he does. So that is a pretty poor start from Poma. He's lost a few positions, but that has allowed the Aston Martin of Carrera to take the P4 spot.
Well, we wondered what Luke Wigg was going to be able to do in the KTM. Well, they're under fire from Billy Octane in the 33, who has been all over the place in this championship. Mind you, was looking like they were going to have a good result at Brands Hatch, for instance, and it all sort of came undone. Pretty sure Octane doesn't even want to hear the word Brands Hatch, but right now is fighting hard. Again, this is not for a position in class, but Octane needs this position because he wants to go up there and fight McLaughlin.
Yeah, indeed, and that's what we've been watching all season long. And Octane going up the inside there into the last corner. Is he gonna be able to make a stick? I think he does. A little bit wide is Olaf left. So actually, that is not Octane. That is Roberts on the inside of left. So Roberts has managed to.
They're all painted the same. It's very difficult.
Okay, I've just been told by Stu that was Bryant. There's a quite similar color scheme in between these two cars, but Olaf left getting overtaken by Bryant, almost getting overtaken by Roberts. And you can see the Alpine struggling a little bit there on the straights, and I think that sort of it shows the foibles of that car. But anyways, up ahead you can see the Aston Martin and the Chevy, sorry, not the Chevy, the BMW of Proma fighting side by side, and I think that's going to be interesting to watch. But here we have Phil Roberts on Olaf left. Is he able to do anything around the outside? No, he's not. He gets a little bit out of position. That's going to allow Martin Lawrence to try and think of a move into the next corner. But yeah, it's nothing really happening here. But that's just the nature of Kyalami. You can run side by side, but then the next corner comes up and you have to allow the person ahead to take the position.
Well, a replay of the start shows you exactly what happened. BMW down on the inside curb, 3 wide. And Boardman, and I don't know exactly who was in that gray and yellow, well, it appeared to be an Aston to me. Could have been an AMG, but unknown who that was. But they were the big losers in that exchange as they get turned around and hard into the wall. Damage indeed, and no time to really stop and fix it off. Leffa trying to get through some of his class field. Trying to use what he has, and it's going to be contact there. And more contact indeed as the 20 goes off. That's Harsford. That's not even in his class. And contact a couple of times will lead to that. And by the way, still side by side. I believe that's Phil Roberts he's side by side with.
Well, and the Phil Roberts just zooming away on the straight, and Martin Lawrence wanting some of this action.
Oh,
is he going to send it up the inside? Now Lawrence decides to slot in behind Roberts there, but that, as you said, that poor Alpine doing everything he can in the corners to stay ahead. A little bit of touching, and I'm surprised to see all the cars surviving through there. As if that was a GT3, someone would definitely ended up in the wall through Chitito, trying to run too wide. But yeah, all of them survived. But as we saw that BMW down the straight compared to the Alpine, just an absolute rocket.
Top 3, Lima, Svinček, Rubliar, your podium positions. Correa in 4th place, Harwood in 5th. Don't get Harwood confused with Harsford like I have throughout this championship. Harsford's the one that lost out in that exchange in Cheetah and has now lost an additional position to Pimlott. Harsford back to 15th place. In fact, there he is right in front of us there. Andy Boardman, who got turned in turn 3, going 3 wide, desperate to make up positions here, and contact again.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of a struggles there with Harsford, and Boardman also keen to make up positions after the contact he had on lap 1. As he has shown, he has great pace here today, and Shelkin behind them, just trying to keep it clean. As up the inside goes Boardman on Harsford. It goes quite deep though, to be honest. That's going to allow the Shelkin to potentially try and sneak his way past, and he slots in behind because trying to overtake into Chitita usually ends up with someone in the wall. But yeah, that is just goes to show how easy it is to make a mistake in Kyalami when trying to overtake.
I'm sure that Camaro is not handling very well, but you got to keep your head on straight and not put yourself in any more danger or potentially get yourself into trouble. I know that's a million times easier said than done as we watch the fight between Phil Roberts and Martin Lawrence. Lawrence actually getting that position away from Roberts, is now trying to drive away and go catch Tom Bryant and Wig in front of them. Of course, this doesn't give Lawrence any more points. He's a pro driver working his way through the high silver field, but got to get it done one way or another. And Martin Lawrence setting his sights. The rear wing camera here of Phil Roberts looking back at the poor old Alpine, as I refer to it, who is continuously getting hounded by Pimlott now.
Yeah, it seems like the Alpine really struggles down the straight, and yeah, we saw Martin Lawrence getting past there on Phil Roberts, and I think that was sort of like oh, is that the wig that has gone off? That looks like his wig. It is indeed. So the KTM has managed to spin yet again, and that is quite frustrating to see. I'm pretty sure it's just hit too much curb entering the corner.
Yeah, you can't hit that curb, Christian. You just can't hit that curb on entry. You're taught not to. It's such a it doesn't look big, but it is such a gigantic curb, and especially in a KTM. Can you believe the unparalleled bad luck the KTMs have had this year?
Yeah, it's been pretty tough to watch for them as they've been struggling. And here we have a replay of, I believe that is Tom Bryant and Phil Roberts racing each other, and there might have been an incident there somewhere as okay, so I've just been told there wasn't an incident between both of them, but I'm just looking at my time machines, and Olaf Leff has fallen all the way down, so not quite sure what happened there, but that's oh, we might get a replay here.
So that's the previous incident that we saw with the 20 going off of Harsvord. That was not what caused Olaf Leffe to end up dead last on the field, but certainly, as you said, Christian, something has happened, because one doesn't lose half of the track position for nothing. What's happened here between Andy Boardman and a little touch, and just a little rub in his race in there, it looked like.
Yeah, it was Boardman on Harsford, and I believe that we saw that old overtake earlier on as well, but anyways, here we have Pimlott chasing down Tom Bryant. Obviously, these two are not in class with each other, but Pimlott wants to get past to try and surmount the challenge to Martin Lawrence, who is only about 2 seconds up ahead of him.
Well, Pimlott started deep in this field, and at least by my incident report, he's kept it fairly clean thus far, and he is up several spots, and now a few more obstacles in his way. He can see the car up in front of him that he's racing, that red, white, and blue Martin Lawrence BMW. That is a car he is racing. He can see him. And unfortunately, though, there are some very blue and pink and black cars in between him and them. We mentioned in qualifying those Camaros when they hit the curbs. Oh, and who's that off there? That's a Mercedes.
Is that McLaughlin? I think it is McLaughlin. He seems to have stopped on the side of the track, maybe some sort of mechanical issue, and that's...
Oh, that wasn't a Mercedes.
Oh,
there's another car off behind him. Oh, I see. Oh, so contact there. Laurie McLaughlin. Yeah, there was a touch, and then... Oh, I see. And Laurie McLaughlin is waiting. I saw this red BMW pull up behind the Aston, and I was wondering why that might be. It's because they were involved in an incident. We never saw the 404, so for Palma, that is not what they wanted to have happen to them.
Yeah, that was a very unfortunate incident. I think McLaughlin just quick on the exit there compared to Proma, and wasn't expecting Proma to close up so much. A little tap in the rear, and Proma goes into the wall. Obviously, Proma has to respect everyone else on track and is not able to get his car turned around until basically everyone's past him. So that is quite an unfortunate incident to watch indeed. That's allowed Phil Roberts to take the lead of the Silver Class Championship. Sorry, not Championship, the Silver Class race.
I know, it's incredible how things like that can change everything, and it's unfortunate for Bourdais, but McLaughlin, that is, as it does happen. And incidents sometimes, speaking of which, trying to go around the outside here, not smart, but still hanging it out there is Boardman. Boardman, of course, is spurred on by the fact that they were involved in a 3-wide incident into turn 3. Certainly a bit steamy under the helmet there. Only a 20-minute race with no pit stops. It is a dead sprint towards the finish line, this race, and then the 40-minute season finale with double points. As look at this, not a full block there by Pimlott, but definitely was sort of shading him over in a defensive line. But will it matter? I don't think it will, as Boardman goes a long way, or a matter of fact, it will be position held. Pimlott holds the inside. Boardman goes wide, gets onto the painted bit, and loses traction.
Yeah, it's very difficult to overtake around the outside on this track, and I think Boardman just showing why it is so difficult. As the corners they sort of fall away from very quickly, but he is applying the pressure he needs to get past Pimlott, and Pimlott only just as Tom Bryant right ahead of him, so it doesn't take much for Boardman to get 2 positions here, I think. But also he has to look up behind him because he has Shellgreen right up behind him. Behind Shellgreen is Harseford, who is in his class. So Boardman not in the best position currently, as he's both trying to attack and defend for people in his class. But he's doing a great job of it so far, to say the least.
How do you do that, Christian? How do you attack and defend at the same time? It's a bit like your engineer telling you, okay, I need you to catch the guy in front, but save me fuel. How do you do that?
I don't really know. I guess you do none of them. Just maintain your lines, and hopefully you can follow the car ahead and the guy behind doesn't try anything on you, because obviously many times when you do attack, you can end up going a little bit wide, and that's just going to allow the door to be opened up from the guy behind you. So if you do eventually go for an overtake, make sure you know 100% that it will work.
Well, as Richard Hammond once said, I'm just going to go fast.
That's also one way to put it. Speed and power is all you need. But here we have...
Well, I was going to say, speaking of, while we are on this particular trio, we've got a battle for high silver lead between Tom Bryant and Phil Roberts. They're going to be 3 wide contact there with Pimlott trying to go around the outside. You have to be at least somewhat aware that there is a fight. Is that Shellgren now? I think that's Shellgren who's in here in a very close moment there in the background as well for the 20 again.
Yeah, that's Shellgren just showing what can happen if you try and attack and doesn't work. Harseford sending one up the inside of Pimlott, somehow manages to make it stick and gets...
Well, this is still dangerous.
Past them, yet they're still running side by side into turn 5. Who's going to be Pimlott on the outside, Harseford on the inside? I think Harseford has gotten this position done, and that is very unfortunate for Pimlott. He's basically lost 3 positions trying to overtake around the outside here in Kyalami.
Correa here, the entrance of turn 3. Just going to get spun there. Close quarters racing and not enough space given.
Yeah, that was the fight for P3, I believe it was, and Chris Rubelard getting the short end of the stick there, getting spun around. It's quite similar to the incident we saw on lap 1, except this time it was 2 drivers instead of 3, but Martin Lawrence somehow has made his way up to P6.
Well, there was a lot of contact there. I was just going to comment that Phil Roberts and Tom Bryant were neck and neck, and then all of a sudden there were several cars in between the two of them. That battle completely broken up. Martin Lawrence now has gotten around Phil Roberts, and this, the rear wing of the Triple R Chevy Camaro of Billy Octane. Martin Lawrence inside covered by Octane. Lawrence goes wide, trying to do the crossover, not happening on this particular occasion, but that BMW looks to have just a little bit more grip as he gets all over the back of the Chevy here. And I feel like this pass is almost inevitable. Nearly running off the track, trying to get the pass done. Down to the inside, Martin Lawrence. He's getting pushed a little bit by Octane into Sunset. You love to see it. It's clean racing, it's fair racing, and it's also really tough.
Oh, Martin Lawrence having a little bit of a look up the inside there, but decides to back out of it. He has to be careful doing this sort of stuff because Phil Roberts is right behind him to pounce if he does make a mistake, but that just shows how close these GT4 cars can race. And we have seen Octane and Lawrence before. They are quite good friends off track, so I believe they're also being friendly on track as well, and it's been producing some great racing. But anyways, here we are, 4-way battle for P9.
Well, it's an old thing that we used to say. You don't want to ever make anybody mad that you have to talk to or sit in a meeting with later. And certainly, I think, Ludwig off again. Was it another curb incident? Oh, don't tell me it's in the same place.
I think it's the exact same instance we saw earlier.
No.
Actually.
Oh, such is the life of a KTM GT4 driver, I'm afraid. It's not anything Luke Wiggs particularly doing wrong. That car is like a Porsche Cup car and a Lamborghini Rex had a baby. It is that difficult to drive.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And I think the cause of that incident was just a little bit too much grass on the braking, and the car just says no thank you, and away around he goes.
Yes, indeed. But back to the previous anecdote, I was going to say, you never want to make anybody mad you have to sit in a room with. And, well, I think that's never more true with Billy Octane and Martin Lawrence. I think they have to maintain some sort of relationship. So, be unfortunate if they ever didn't get along with one another. But they also know each other fairly well as well. So once you know somebody's mannerisms, how they drive, it's actually a lot more easy and more fun to race against them. And also, I think the case in point, Martin Lawrence was very comfortable getting into the rear exhaust of that Camaro. And speaking of which, round 2 electric boogaloo here. Oh, look at this. Look at Octane.
Oh, Octane doing everything he can there to try and get Lawrence distracted off his line. And I think Lawrence has just not had enough of that American exhaust fumes, and he just wants more and more. Trying to, yeah, he's just maintaining his position right now. Octane go a little bit deep though there, and that's going to allow Lawrence to get a great exit here. And there might be, I think there's a move coming up soon with looking the way this is going. But Octane doing a great job defending so far. Lawrence, he's maybe going to think about going up the inside here, or he's going to take it around the outside. A little bit late on the brakes. Maybe trying a switchback maneuver. It doesn't look like Octane's giving him the space he needs to do so. So I think that's going to maintain position. But here we have Harseford actually going off the track, trying to go around the outside of the... Oh, and
no!
Into Pimlot. And that's an unfortunate end, as we just heard over the radio, that it's leaders on the final lap.
It has been a very difficult race for that number 20, as Andy Boardman has brought his 69 Camaro to pit lane. I feel like they are going to finish this race in the pit lane. No retirements, but perhaps a little waving of the white flag. Last lap of the race. Haven't missed anything up front. Thiago Lima leading Svincek. But, of course, there has been a change for third place. Rubliar down all the way into 8th place. They will not be happy, that number 17 Audi. That is a massive drop-off. But for Correa, they will be pleased as punch with a podium here. Svincek running 5 seconds or so off of Lima. And, of course, the fight for 5th in the pro class. Everybody else is sort of spread out, that except Tom Bryan and Shelgren, who are racing for 2nd in high silver. But I feel like we're going to stay with this battle to the flag. Very close. The front splitter cam for Martin Lawrence trying to go to the outside. Can he make it stick? This is going to get good.
Yeah, he's trying again. That switchback maneuver. It does allow him to get a better exit this time around, though. I think he's got a bit more speed getting within inches of the back bumper there of Billy Octane, but he's sort of, I think he's lifted a little bit just to let him, give him the space he needs to avoid any accidents. And I think it looks like Martin Lawrence, either he's going to set up a massive move for the last corner, or he's throwing in the towel. I'm not quite sure what's happening there, but yeah, the leader finished the race. Thiago Lima comes across, finishes first, but we're not done with this battle yet, as Billy Octane goes to the inside. Can Martin Lawrence get a better exit here on the outside, and using all of the track he can, side by side.
Oh, it's going to be a drag race!
I think Billy Octane just gets ahead of Martin Lawrence at the end. That was... what a way to finish the first race.
What a finish. Fight for top 5. Don't tell these guys it's only 5th place. That might as well have been for the win. And side by side between Lawrence and Octane, that is fantastic racing. Podium confirmed. Thiago Lima, Uri Svincek, and Correa, the top 3 in round number 1 in the overall and in pro. Tom Bryant wins the high silver class. And what a race that was. A lot of action, a lot of contact, Christian. What can we expect for race 2? Do you think we're going to have that level of physicality in the 40-minute series finale?
Well, generally, I'd say we won't have that low physicality because there's less desperation to try and get ahead of the guy ahead. But as we've seen so often in this GT4 series, we don't know. It can be chaotic in race 1 and calm in race 2, or it could be calm in race 1 and chaotic in race 2. We'll never really know. And I think there's definitely some unlikely winners, I'd say, today for silver class. Phil Roberts, just sort of out of nowhere, managed to get the silver class victory for this race, and I think congratulations for him to doing that.
Yes.
So that was interesting to see, and also a lot of the leaders, they were in silver. I think it swapped quite a lot with Proma getting taken out, Luke Wigg having his incidents, Olaf Lev having incident earlier on. I think Borodai as well getting collected in that lap 1 little tap, I think it was in turn 3. So I think anything can still happen. The result will probably be very different this race than compared to last race.
My apologies, by the way. I might have accidentally said Tom Bryant won that race in high silver. That was actually Phil Roberts who won that race in high silver. You will forgive me. I was looking at a Tom Bryant message, and I accidentally, and they're all driving the same car. Oh, and it's the return of the man, the myth, and the legend, folks. That's starter Bob, I think is what we're going to go with. That's starter Bob, and we are on the grid for race 2. No second qualifying. Qualifying for race 1 sets the grid for both races. The press and the photographers out in full force here for the RCI TV GT4 Season 3 finale. 40-minute race on deck here. Getting ready to go out on the pace lap. And it's looking more and more like our championship winning drivers are confirmed. But we will wait to crown them until the end of this race. Well, congratulations to Phil Roberts winning the race. And normally I have some sort of comment for some of the RCI staff in these races. Well, I don't have any criticism at all. It was a brilliantly ran race, Phil. Good job. That's the only praise you're ever getting from me. But I kid, of course. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Well, Christian, if you've had a bad race, you're already sort of mad and ticked off here. You got to put that behind you and get up on the wheel and make sure you finish the championship strong, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Even if you do lose the championship in this race, I think just knowing you've given it your all and you can go home being proud of yourself anyways, even though if it's very close to the end. And I think Olaf Lev would have had a chance to reset his mind, and I still believe he can maybe take a win. But after seeing the first race, the way that BMW just eats the Alpines alive on the straight, I'm not so sure anymore. But I'll still believe for Olaf Lev that he will get a victory today. So it's not over until it's over.
Well, my big thing for Andy Boardman is you have to be able to avoid that. Started up inside the top 5, I believe, and what was racing for a potential podium spot got taken out. Had a couple of more incidents as well and ended up in the pit lane. Can't have that today. You absolutely have to do a better job of staying in the race. And we can't assign blame. That's not our job. But going 3 wide in turn 3, or any turn for that matter, probably not wise. So certainly Boardman will be looking to avoid that, I would think.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just gonna be a great final race. I can't wait for it. Hopefully Luke Wigg as well will have figured out how the KTM reacts to some of the curbs and some of the grass on this track, and I think hopefully we might even see a KTM podium. Like you said, anything can happen.
Exactly. That would be absolutely incredible stuff. The cars released from pit lane on the pace lap. The next time they come through here, they will be under full steam and likely 3 and 4 abreast. Well, don't adjust your television sets. That is a karting track in the inside of Kyalami as our drone flies around the grounds here at the lovely track. Lovely atmosphere, and we didn't talk about the weather at all in race 1. That's because it was fairly normal, 11-kilometer headwind coming up the back straights up to the top of the hill. But other than that, 22 degrees C on the track. What we would call lovely, I believe the South Africans would call slightly chilly.
Yeah, I was looking at the clouds and I was wondering, race 2, the weather it looks a little bit different here from the commentary box. We might see a few drips here and there, but also we might just be, well, I would, for some lucky and for some unlucky, if we don't see any rain today. But it is South Africa after all. They're not known for having a torrential rain as that sometimes happens in places, say like Britain or where we were in Brands Hatch, that had just rain all in the last 10 minutes of the race. But anyways, the drone doing a great job here to getting all the track scenes, almost getting clipped by the cars. Not happening this time around. Stewie does know how to fly a drone, and it's great to see these scenes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I really am.
Stewie's going to be applying for a drone pilot's license after this. I think he's got all the right skills. Well, you're listening to Jesse Lee, Christian Stricker, and Stewie in the box with you today. Stewie Broadcasting, and I, Jesse Lee, I'm here in relief of Ryan Mawson, who had a previous engagement, and certainly hope that he's doing well as we wrap up the GT4 championship. Pro and high silver, 40 minutes left to go. We're going to crown a couple of champions and finish off strong. A lot of 3 wide down into turns 2 and 3 in race 1. Can we expect much of the same, or will it be a bit more calm like we are used to seeing in race 2s? Well, we are just about to find out. You know what, Christian? I yelled at people when they came down the front straight for the first race. Won't you go ahead and finish out the season strong for us?
Sort of putting me on the spot there, Jesse. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, sure. But the cars all lined up now. I love this sort of starting formation. I think it's very exciting, especially with these cars. Some launch very well, some don't, and it's always going to lead to someone getting into some sort of turmoil, as we saw last race. But here we go. On the start-finish straights, we have Thiago Lima leading the rest of the field. Lights will go green anytime now, and they are off, and there's a drive-through from Thiago Lima. I did think I saw a little bit of a jump there, so he's going to have to serve that as quickly as possible. But with that said, Rubler up to second place, past Svenček, and Svenček on the outside has to deal with Proma, who's going to try the same maneuver he tried last time around. Around the outside he goes deep yet again, and it's just the same mistake we saw. This is very similar to last race. I'm a little bit of deja vu. This time Boardman gets past, so does I believe it was Bourdais as well, getting past the Proma. So Proma already overtaken by someone in silver class. In the background we have quite a few drivers running side by side still. They're almost 3 wide in the 2 places here. But Proma having a pretty poor start, having to concede a few positions to avoid a contact. But out the inside, Rob Franken having a little bit of a look, doesn't make any contact though. So everyone's surviving so far. The KTM of Luke Wig there, going up the inside of Harseford, manages to make that position a little bit deep. Was an Aston Martin. I don't know exactly who that is, but most drivers surviving half of lap 1. But Martin Lawrence trying to go around the outside of Harseford. He's going to have to run in the KTM as well. He's probably going to get Luke Wig under braking here. Martin Lawrence trying to make his way up the field again, and is that Tom Bryan, the head teammate of Billy Octane, there going past the Aston Martin, and that is very close racing. We have Jesse is wincing at every opportunity being taken by these drivers, but no contact so far, and I think it's been one of the cleaner first laps we've seen in this championship. Well, I say that, up ahead.
Oh dear, oh dearie me.
Olaf Leff, and I believe that is Tom Bryan collected in that incident as well.
Well, Laurie McLaughlin has decided that they've had just about enough of GT4s at Kyalami and has taken the number 7 Aston to the pit lane, and that will likely result in a retirement. And what a crazy first lap. Turn 5 and 6, folks. If you may have saw what I saw, they were 4 wide getting into turn 4, and they all sorted it out. Some minor contact throughout the field. Harsford had contact with Phil Roberts, I'm pretty sure. It was either Roberts or Leffa, I'm not sure. But that being minor contact. And of course, what happened at the end of Mineshaft coming in to Crocodile, Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Just now what on earth could have caused that? That was contact, surely.
Yeah, it almost looks like a brake failure. It's not sure, but Thiago Lima's gotten a stop-go 30-second penalty, and that is for speeding in the pit lane while serving his drive-through. So he's already won the championship, but I'm sure he'll be gutted with that result, considering he could have won one more race this time around.
Well, if it's going to come undone for you, you might as well already be the champion. And for Thiago Lima, he fortunately has that big safety net. Thiago Lima is going to be the pro champion, regardless of what happens. He could not even finish this race. It would not matter. That's how dominant Lima has been. It's looking like he's only going to not win 2 out of the races this season. Absolutely incredible dominance. Perhaps the most dominant driver in a championship in RCI history. We'll have to check the record books on that, but I'm fairly certain no driver has won more races in a single championship than Lima. So very high praise indeed. But today, coming all done, the start infraction not being in the correct position, and now getting onto the limiter too late or off of the limiter too early, one or the other, has caused him to have a stop and go. Of course, no live stewarding here for the GT4 championship. Stewarding handled post-race for this championship. Certainly they will have a lot of work to do following race number 1. For Leffa, it has been a difficult weekend with a lot of straightaways under constant attack, but credit where it is due. Phil Roberts still very much in front, and I think that might have been contact there, and making contact with Leffa as well.
Yeah, just as you mentioned, Phil Roberts. He spins around Rob Franklin. I think we're going to see a replay here. And so that's the BMW getting late on the brakes. A little bit of contact with the Luke Wig up ahead. And yeah, just carrying that much more speed into the corner unexpectedly.
Leffa did make contact.
And Phil Roberts, race 1 winner, now down into P16.
Leffa's car twitched like he made contact, and the aspects, the sort of angle that we were at made it look like he did, but in fact he wasn't even close. That was just him getting on the brakes and cutting the wheel around the spun car, so no contact there for the little Alpine.
Yeah, and that's Tom Bryant going off the track there, and as Billy Octane's teammate, which is, I got a little bit confused for a second, but Luke Wig has managed to survive so far. He's in 4th position in silver, and he's trying to apply pressure onto Tom Bryant, and I think in the corners his KTM is just amazing, but already now we can see the difference on the straight between the Camaro and the KTM. And Camaro's not the fastest car in the straight. You would assume so with the massive engine it has in that car, but the BMWs are stronger. And saying that, Pimlott trying a move around the outside of the KTM, sort of able to make it stick. I mean, they're still going side by side into Chief, so that's never really going to end well. Luke Wig does stay ahead as Pimlott has to sort of abort a little bit to the grass, and I think they both survive, but Pimlott trying a cutback maneuver now. Luke Wig getting a great exit, but that KTM might just be swallowed up by the Aston Martin down the straight.
Well, it is definitely a better race for the little KTM. Go ahead and count that up into 3rd place in class. So definitely doing better now. And we talked about some of the drivers looking for corrections in race 2. Well, it's definitely happened for Luke Wig in the 499 KTM. Now the job switches from being an attacker to a defender. How well could he potentially do that?
Yeah, I just quickly want to mention the team name, Pittsburgher Drinking Team. I think that is a very accurate statement to say the least. Bitburg being quite close to where I live, so I do drink quite a lot of Bitburg. It's a nice beer, to be fair, but yeah. I think just a little shout out to them.
You realize that is Luke Wig Dutch? I'm assuming he is, based on.
I think he's German.
He's German. Okay, very very nice indeed. Nice shout out there. Well, Wig in 4th place in the high silver class is now trying to run down the 2 seconds to Tom Bryant in front. Be interesting to see if the KTM can do that. Of course, under fire still from Pimlott, not racing for class position, but still be better and more beneficial if he stays in there. Well, what a difference a race makes. Rubliar, who ran 3rd for the majority of race 1 and then fell outside the top 5, finds himself leading Svinček. And speaking of big changes, Boardman, who ran dead last in race 1, is not only on the podium, He is right behind the two leaders. Correa in 4th place, not too far behind, but still several seconds, is in a fight with Borodai, and Palma in 6th place, all racing together. Borodai and Palma racing for the lead in high silver, of course. Here is Martin Lawrence getting by Harwood. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I wonder if Martin Lawrence sandbagged a little bit in qualifying, as he wanted a bit more of an exciting race, because this race pace has been great in race 1 and here race 2 as well, as he's making his way up the field, and he's got the person he was fighting against earlier, Billy Octane, in his sights now.
Well, these two can't quit each other. Luckily, they have a lot of practice racing with and against each other, and they basically are just resuming the fight from the end of race 1, all of these guys. But, of course, they have some extra teams in tow. Martin Lawrence will certainly be looking to take an opportunity here to help pick off some other teams and drivers as they're going around the 404 of Palma. Ooh. Perhaps a little bit of contact there. No harm, no foul. At least that's what it appeared like. Yeah, and they get clear.
Palma getting overtaken by Billy Octane and then straight away also by Martin Lawrence. I wonder if he's having any issues, but he's trying to look up the inside of Lawrence. Is not quite able to make it stick just as it is. Martin was getting a good exit, but they will go side by side through to Tita. Never mind. Palma does back out of it in the end, but that's going to allow Hardwood to try and make a move on them. So he has to be careful with what he's doing in his attacks, as we have mentioned. Oh, is this almost contact there as Palma spins, and I think Hardwood was within inches of death there.
Well, we see what happened there. Had to get into the brakes and upset the car, slowed him down, and near contact with Harwood, but everybody gets away cleanly. I feel like the perspective on some of these mounted trackside cameras, they make us jump because we're not quite sure how close they actually are. The track a very twisty one indeed, and sometimes they, you know that old saying for the mirrors, objects in mirrors are closer than they appear. Well, sometimes objects on camera look closer than they are as well. So we apologize for squirming. Well, Thiago Lima has parked the 101, by the way. I thought that they were serving that stop and go 30. They're not. They are parking that car. McLaughlin's still in the race, parked. Lima is parked as well. I tell you what I would do, Christian, in this case. If I saw who is eventually tonight going to be crowned the champion, if I saw him parked in pit lane, I would do a cheeky extra lap just to say, yeah, I beat him.
Yeah, that would be a funny way to end the season for sure. And I think Thiago Lima might have been a little bit confused. It's not a stop and go 30 laps, it's only a stop and go 30 seconds. So it looks like that's what's happened there. But anyways, Fordman here on the back of Svenček, behind the Rubeloid. Nice battle for the top 3 here.
Well, we've definitely seen some good fights this championship, and not been short of drama this particular season, both good and bad types of it, and we have been spoiled every single race. I don't know if it's because the GT4s are just more raceable than the GT3s or what. Perhaps the parity is a bit more vast than the GT3s as well, and it creates some fantastic situations. Case in point here, last race of the year, everybody racing for not only a podium in that case, but a win. Get a room, you two. Billy Octane, Martin Lawrence still going at it.
Yeah, they just couldn't get enough of each other, and it looks like Martin Lawrence has managed to get on top of Billy Octane now and gets his way up to P6.
He did what now?
Overall. You heard me right, Jesse. But yeah, Billy Octane is now gone from being on top to on the bottom, and Martin Lawrence up to P6.
Billy Octane will not be happy about that. He's actually trying to reassert his dominance here and get back on top. Martin Lawrence says nope. And Billy Octane is going to be forced to take that position. And look who is in the mix here. This all-4 position in the pro class. Harwood's involved still.
Yeah, Harwood putting the pressure on Billy Octane in order to try and make a spot there. And here Bourdais on the outside of Correa. Is he trying to do a switchback maneuver? Kind of looks like he's going for a better exit here. he will get a better exit, but I don't think it's enough to try and make an overtake into the next corner. But Borday leading the silver championship, I keep saying championship, the silver class by quite some margin at this point.
Well, they have been the beneficiary of the likes of Lawrence, Octane, and Harwood coming through the field, and that definitely slowed up the high silver class, and that's allowed Borday to get away. Be curious to see if this group catches the cars in front, and if they do, does that slow Borday and then reinitiate the high silver battle between Palma and Tom Bryant and Wig, which again, Bryant holding on to third in that class. Wig has erased a 2-second gap and has caught Tom Bryant for third in high silver. But this battle, of course, the battle for the overall win, and there's literally nothing between them. Rubliar leads Svinchek and Boardman. Throw a blanket over them. That's how close they are. And your guess is as good as mine at who is the best in this group.
Yeah, I think any one of those three drivers can take the win today, and here we have Olaf Leff and Harseford going at it as well. Pimnot is quite a little bit of a train here behind Luke Wig, to be honest. I think 4 or 5 drivers being involved in this one. Olaf Leff being unlucky at the start of the race, getting caught up in incidents, just with someone, I can't remember who it was, outbreaking themselves. I believe actually it was McLaughlin. But he's trying to make some positions back, as he is fighting against Jelgen for that championship win. Although I do think it's basically come to an end now for Olaf Leff.
Well, it would have taken a Herculean effort to reincite the championship between the two of them. Needed not max points, but nearly that to get back in it, and it hasn't come to pass. A bad finish in race 1 and a, well, we'll call it lukewarm race here has led to that not necessarily being the case. And I'm not confirming this, but I have been doing the math, and I'm pretty sure it is now impossible for Leffa to win the high silver championship. I think that has been done and dusted. But you know what? We went through the standings, and I was looking at them. Your guess is as good as mine of where all of these teams are going to finish. It is so close, particularly from, a little wiggle there by Wig. It's so close between 6th down to about 11th or 12th in both classes. I don't know how they're going to shake out. It's just that close.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see until the race is over and the final standings to come in. And I think Harseford, on the braking, Luke Wig getting it all sorts of wrong. Contact with Harseford, and I believe that is Schelke in the background getting caught up in that as well. So that is the unfortunate foibles of the KTM kicking in there on the braking. And I think that was quite unfortunate to see Luke Wig almost gets into the back of Pimnots, as we saw there.
Champion-elect Thiago Lima joins us from the pit lane and in chat. Congratulations on your Pro GT4 championship, Thiago Lima. I know you would have wished that your last race in the championship would have went a little bit better than it did, but you did end the final week with another win, an absolute dominating affair. So congratulations on behalf of everybody here at RCI TV on the championship. And thanks for tuning in here for the final 20 or so minutes. Folks, if you are enjoying the race, why not leave a like and a subscribe and let us know. And of course, hit that bell. Don't miss a single race. We'll be back with you. The Friday championship returns tomorrow. Mike Jones, myself, and Ryan Gill will be in attendance for the start of a brand new Friday championship with you tomorrow. And of course, come hang out with Ryan Mawson and me on Saturday for the Night Owl Championship there in full swing. Races all going on all the time, and we'd love to have you. And of course, a big thank you to all of our partners that make this race and every race possible. Race Department, AK Informatica, Driver 61, Fanatec, and Sim Racing GP as they go nearly 3 wide down into turn 2. More information about all the partners in the description. You can get yourself some driver coaching from Driver 61. $10 session. It will make you a better driver. It's very fantastic stuff. All that information in the description. Support those that support RCI.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for Driver 61. I've used them before, and it's definitely a great help indeed. There's a good battle going on there for the lead of the Silver Championship, but here we have Phil Roberts on the outside of Harseford. It doesn't look like he's able to make it stick as of now, but he will have the inside for the next corner. That BMW had great acceleration out there, but it seems like Harseford is sort of leaving the door open a little bit, allowing Phil Roberts to slot his BMW into the right position. They're still going side by side into the S's. Harseford's going to have to back out of this one. A little bit of contact on the entrance, but it looks like Phil Roberts has managed to make the move stick, and unless Harseford can fight back at him at the hairpin, I think he's going to be trying to get his head down to attack Olaf Leff, who's only 3 seconds up the road.
By the way, I was right about something. Alexander Bordai has hemorrhaged all the time he had in hand over Palma and Bryant, and I think that is because the likes of Octane, Harwood, and Martin Lawrence got around them. As we watch Shelgren, who again is behind Leffa, but not behind enough to lose the championship. Joachim Shelgren looking like the driver that will be the high silver champion at the end of the day, despite the struggles here, will score plenty of points enough to win the high silver championship. This is the state of what I was referencing. This, of course, reignited, and I was trying to go back and figure out exactly what happened. I just think it was due to being held up, and the same reason that he got the gap was the reason he lost the gap. And now, of course, Harwood holding Borodai up, and that has allowed Palma to catch up completely here. The lights ablaze on Borodai's car, perhaps pleading with Harwood, please let me go.
Yeah, even though these guys are not fighting for the class, I think Borodai wanting Harwood to do him a favor here to try and block off Palma behind us. I don't believe...
Help a brother out.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe Borodai has won a race of silver. Don't quote me on that one, but I can't seem to remember. I remember him being very close a few times, but it always got wrong at some point at the end of the race. Hopefully it doesn't happen this time around, but Palma is just behind him as it stands, and going pretty deep there as Borodai. That's going to allow Palma to go up the inside, or at least attempt to go up the inside, and he's going to get a great exit here. He has to slot in back behind Borodai, but that's not what Borodai wants to do, as that's going to cost him precious time he needs to stay ahead of Palma behind him.
Well, it's a frustrating situation, and just to explain for people that may be new to RCI racing, we allow anyone to race each other. You're on the same lap, even if it's not for position. There's no overall championship, but it doesn't matter. It's still a position. You are allowed to race them in the same way that you would be able to in the GT Challenge Series. Completely sideways there is Borodai. Does that do anything? Does that allow Palma to potentially get up beside him? No, it doesn't look like it. Harseford continuing to fight with Roberts here. Yeah, Harseford seems to get the better of Roberts there.
If Roberts got on the brake there to try and avoid contact, that's really compromised his exit, as Shelgren is now getting past Roberts down the straight. So I think that's a bit of a mistake there from...
crossover!
Yeah.
Oh, a double crossover! Double crossover move! Have you ever seen it? Incredible stuff!
Yeah, these two silver drivers going at it here for the P1 spot. Only 80 minutes remaining in this race. I think these are two favorites to win it for a silver class, and that is a great battle going on at the moment. Palma is saying thank you very much.
Oh my God.
And then Borodai coming back and saying no, thank you. And here we are.
P1, it's like shaking hands with your. It's like shaking hands with yourself, Christian. Here we go again. This is up for the third position, the second position. This is 1, 2, and 3, the purple, red, and silver cars. This is for the overall win. I was laughing to myself because there's a fight for the pro lead, and then there's also a fight for the high silver lead. It's incredible stuff.
Yeah, poor Stewie has to try and keep track of all of this and not miss any of the action, but we see Boardman getting past Svenchek there. A little bit of a rubbing on the cars, but that's fine. It's GT4 racing after all. Boardman up to P2, trying to surmount his charge on Rubelar now. Rubelar, I don't think he has led a race before, but it's always gone wrong at some point. But here we have a race replay.
Something happened with Shelgren. Is this contact with... Ooh. Yes, indeed it is. The BMW stopping there, but several positions there obviously lost between the two of them. But done the respectful thing. Obviously, as a driver, you never want to make contact with somebody else. You never want to ruin anybody else's race, let alone your own race. But the respectful thing to do, and the easiest way to upset the RCI stewards less, is to obviously just give the position back. Roberts is a steward. Roberts knows the rules. That's a knowing the rules moment. And now, despite the fact that Roberts is running last in class, that still is the gentlemanly thing to do. Meanwhile, Boardman, like you said, around Svincek, but Svincek not giving up here. And I was just thinking, how incredible would it be? Boardman finished 19th, dead last in race 1, parked the car, pulled the garage door down. And what would it be? Could you imagine going from worst to first?
I mean, that is just the way to finish off a championship, isn't it? You only improve race by race, and we've seen quite a few drivers that happening here. One that particularly stands out was Amir Thacker, who's not here today, but race 1 and 2 was they're okay. He wasn't the greatest, and suddenly race 3, he it's like a light switch clicked in his mind, and he just was able to attack and get 2 wins. And then for race 4 as well, he was challenging for the wins in silver. So he stands out as someone who's really improved, but obviously the rest of the field has also improved as well, and it's always super satisfying seeing your pace going quicker and quicker and quicker throughout the season.
Leffa and Tom Bryant going at it for the 3rd spot in high silver. 2 very different cars, both of them off of the track in mineshaft, and very nearly contact, but no contact there. As looks like Tom Bryant's going to be off again, and that is going to yield the position to Olaf Leffa, who will get that done. 11th place and now 3rd in high silver. That's not exactly how you draw that up, but it is a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, just got to apply pressure when you need it, and I hope that the guys ahead make a mistake, and that's sort of what happened there. So Olaf Leffa getting up to 3rd position. But here we have Svincek on Boardman. This fight is going to continue all the way to the end of the race, I have a feeling.
Well, Rubliar is loving this, because now that gap that was within a second is now 2 seconds, because these two are busy fighting and defending one another. And for Rubliar, who was running in a podium spot, but we never actually saw what happened, but they went all the way down to 8th place in the matter of a lap or 2. So you can imagine an off contact, something of that variety, led Rubliar down a path that not only took them off the podium, it took them out of the top 5 in their class. What a response this would be. Of course, Boardman finishing 19th is looking for that sort of win, that final moment, the worst to first movement. Svincek's just looking to get as much as he can after a very solid finish of his own in race number 1. Of course, this race is worth twice as many points as the 20-minute race 1 that they came from. And of course, for the likes of people like Boardman, Svincek, Rubliar, that could mean 5 or 6 positions in the final standings.
It could indeed, and Svincek has already won a race this season. I believe it was race 2 at Brands Hatch with that chaotic finish, and he took the W on that one. But here he is, pressuring Boardman yet again, and I believe the Camaro is a little bit faster down the straight compared to the Aston Martin. That's going to make it just that much more difficult to overtake. Svincek is known to being calm and collected and making the move stick when he needs to. And Boardman, we've seen him make a few mistakes throughout the season, so this is not over yet, even though Boardman has been having a brilliant race so far. It's been great to follow, and I still believe I'm just looking at the timing sheets, and it does look like the fights, as just mentioning it, the fights between Borda and Proma is not calmed down at all. They're still going basically side by side at this point.
Well, no love lost between these two, Bordai and Palma, but it will not matter. They're racing for the final high silver win of the season. Christian, I've got to ask you what your favorite moment of this GT4 season has been. Mine has got to be what you just mentioned. Svincek running more than 10 seconds off the overall lead at a race that at Brands Hatch that went from dry to wet in the darkness. Some chose to not come in and put tires on, some did. Paulo Lima did come in and put tires on. And off the final turn, Paddock Hill Bend did get to the leader, spun him, and Svincek, who was running a distant third, came through and won that race. I can't imagine the shock and surprise. I was happy to be a spectator that day. What was your favorite moment of this season?
Well, I think you just mentioned it. That's the way that moment really sticks out in my head as well. As it was a last lap, last corner sort of incident, and we love to see those. It's just super intense. Also watching Thiago Lima gaining 5 seconds every lap compared to the guys ahead of him. We're just like, will he make it? Will he make it? Sort of thing. And he does eventually make it up to I can't remember who it was he was fighting against, but he in the final corner he gets too quick on the exit, is unexpectedly has oversteered the guy ahead of him, and they collide. And speaking of oversteer, I think Bourdais got a little bit there on the exit there. Puama making his way past Bourdais for the P1 spot in silver class, and looks like he will be able to get this position as he goes up the inside. Bourdais trying to fight around the outside, not really able to make it stick, and plenty of space given between the drivers. I think Puama a little bit has a little bit PTSD from the lap 1 incident, gives him Bourdais enough space. And yeah, Bourdais just right up behind him again, Puama.
Oh, excellent camera work by Stewie here. It definitely shows you how intense this is. You'd think it's the last lap. It's not. It is 11 and a half minutes to go, but this is for the high silver lead. This could be for a win in the championship finale in class, and they're leaving it all on the line here. The 404 and the 98 going at it. BMW and Aston all on the table, not saving anything between the two of them. I'm wondering if Alex Palma is a little bit quicker on the whole. We will find out in a lap or so's time if Bourdais is just struggling from a little bit of pace loss, but even still, an excellent challenge. Had to be perfect, did the 404, and was for that half of a lap, because if he would have made a mistake, Bourdais would have been right back through.
Yeah, we almost saw him make a mistake by leaving too much space for Bourdais to allow him to try and make another move, but he does manage to maintain his position. And Puama back up to P1 in silver. He had a bit of a tough start to this race, I'd say, and he lost quite a few positions at the start, and sort of fell back behind, but maybe that was a bit of a time management. And come with just over 10 minutes left in the race, he's back into that P1 spot. And it doesn't matter how you start the race, it only matters how you finish. And it looks like Puama has got just that much more pace than Bourdais today in order to take this win.
Well, definitely not over yet, but trending in the correct direction if you are Palma. And speaking of which, the gap out front going out, Chris Roubliard leading by 2.5 seconds. That's up from 1.9 a few laps ago. And I don't know if that's just the pace difference or because Boardman is preoccupied with Svincek behind him. But one way or another, Svincek, who was passed by Boardman, has not gone anywhere in the past 5 or 6 laps. There's still both of them together. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, Svincek not one to back down from a fight. And speaking of backing down from fights, a little bit of contact on the entrance of the corner. This is basically identical to what happened early on when Boardman gets past Svincek. Svincek trying to go up the inside. Maybe not the cleanest of moves we've seen, but both the drivers survive. Svincek does get that P2 position. Boardman has to concede. I don't think he'll be happy with that one though, as he almost got spun around. But that is the beauty of GT4 racing. You can make those sort of moves, you can have that sort of contact, and both of the drivers will be okay.
Well, I don't condone aggressive behavior whenever it comes to muscling people out of the way, but if I'm Boardman, I'm probably thinking, all right, you used me up, prepare for payback is what I think you're going to see down here in turn 2. Place your bets, folks.
Yeah, this is going to be quite exciting to watch, and I think Boardman has a little bit of revenge in his eyes, and it looks like Svincek covering the inside until the very last moment. Boardman actually breaks a little bit early, but Svincek covering off the inside nicely there, and I think Boardman just trying to maintain a position now. Hopefully he might be well, I wouldn't say hopefully he might be reporting, but he might report this to the stewards, and the stewards might have a look at the incident. Maybe a penalty comes in, but I'm not sure. I'm not saying anything as it is that was just a little bit of a muscular overtake to say the least. But yeah, Boardman looked like he was going to make a move up the inside, but he breaks early to Svincek, and Svincek was able to cover it off. Well,
for the Green Loafers engineering driver, Svincek, he'll be arguing I left the space. There was contact, and it was my corner anyway. But such is the plight of a racing driver. 4 seconds now, the gap. After all of that, Rubliar absolutely running away with it here now. He will be very happy indeed. Just 7.5 minutes to hold on for victory, and sweet, sweet redemption from race number 1. Perhaps more importantly, a win in the championship in the series finale. Well, the gap is opening up between Palma and Bourdais. It is now 1.8 seconds between the top two in high silver as positions continue to be exchanged. Now that's Tom Bryant, isn't it, with Harsvord there? So Harsvord getting through to 12th place.
Yeah, Harsvord having a bit of a tricky race this time around. There's been a few contacts with him being involved in those incidents, but he manages to make his way past Tom Bryant there. And you see Tom Bryant in the back way drifting around, but Boardman on the inside of Svenček. We're going to see another move for position, and we are indeed, but Boardman goes way too deep off the track onto the green stuff. That's going to allow Martin Lawrence to get through as well, and that is him throwing away the potential P2 spot there. He is.
I would love to see that again.
Yeah, that was quite a big mistake on the braking there. Martin Lawrence now just up behind Svenček.
In America, we would say he went big.
Yeah, you can say he go hard or go home, and I think he just went to home at that point.
But he was halfway towards the hotel, is what he was.
Yeah, indeed he was. But here we have Martin Lawrence. He was sort of just a little bit of a ninja in the background, slowly but surely, and silently as well, catching up to this battle here. And he is now only 5 tenths behind Svenček.
I mean, Martin Lawrence drove up through the top 10. You saw it. He started fairly deep in the field. He has driven up here now, and he now has a shot. Can Martin Lawrence in the BMW, in another BMW, I'm going to tell you something. Svenček's going to have nightmares about the Bavarian Motorworks company, I think, at the end of today, because he's going to be hounded by another one. And in fact, look at that closing gap into the corner there. I think this isn't over for second place.
Yeah, it's definitely not over, especially not when Martin Lawrence is behind. And well, as I'm saying, that he goes a little bit wide, so does Svenček there, and it doesn't really cost him any time, to be honest. He's just slowly but surely closing in on the Aston Martin ahead of him, man. Let's see what the difference is on the straights with this BMW. We know it's very strong indeed, and it does look like he's gaining a little bit now, so he just needs a greater exit than Svenček, and he will be able to make a move for P2 eventually. Weird thing about BMW, I believe it has 8 gears, but you only really use 3 of them.
Is that true?
I might be wrong, but I've had a few friends say they've driven the BMW saying it has 8 gears, but you only really use the 3rd to 6th gear.
I see. If you are a BMW GT4 aficionado or driver in chat, let us know how many gears you use in the GT4 BMW. We'd love to know that. Well, what was a fight between Svenček and Boardman is now a fight between Svenček and Lawrence here in the closing moments. 4 minutes to go, waning moments of the season. And we talked about our favorite moments of the season, some things that we didn't expect to see or happen. And it has been a championship that has kept us all guessing. I have loved to be on both sides of this. The fan side, watching on YouTube, and also in the box with you a few times as well. Christian, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a little voice crack there. It's been a great pleasure to commentate with you, Jess, and also Ryan Mawson has been here for the other rounds, but today he's fighting for a championship win in Misano, so we're wishing him all the best there. As we see Pwama on the back of Hardwood here, maybe making a move up the inside. It doesn't really look like it's on, but it's enough to unsettle Hardwood. And Pwama is going side by side now into Cheetah.
Palma's got to be careful! Oh no! Contact in the Cheetah, and I was just going to say Palma's got to be careful because Bourdais isn't that far behind, and that has effectively reset this battle.
Yeah, that was a bit of a fortune there, and the Cheetah always brings out these sort of incidents. you have the person inside avoiding the curb and the person outside trying to get as close as possible, and then that's just two cars going into one racing line that never ends well. But yeah, as you said, Puama's got to be careful. Bordai is still not that far away, and he's able to pounce onto Puama if he does make a mistake like that again.
Well, not going to take much of a mistake for Martin Lawrence to get by Svinček for second place in Pro. A different BMW, but the task remains the same for the 107. And that is go big defensive in the final couple of laps here. Oh man, it has been that kind of race. I think, yes, I do believe it will be the final lap this time by for everybody. Final lap of the season. And, you know, Ryan Mawson, of course, away on other duties. He would love to thank all of you for being a part of this season, the drivers for taking part, all of you on YouTube in chat, hanging out, and we hope that you've enjoyed the season as much as all of us has as well. And a big thank you, of course, to Stewie for filling in and making the stream come to life. Literally couldn't do it without him. I tried to use OBS. I punched in a bunch of buttons and it didn't work, and it's not voice activated, so I'd absolutely be lost without Stewie indeed. Final lap of the race. Rubliar coming to the line, and so will Svinček and Lawrence. One last time around, one more chance to get the move done. Franken and Shelgren racing each other. This is for points. This is for points that Shelgren doesn't necessarily need, but certainly would like to have here in the finale.
Yeah, you always want to finish the race on a bang, or the season on a bang, to say the least. And speaking of on the bang, Correa and Billy Octane, they're going a little bit side by side here. Correa is going to have the better run through turn 3 and 4, and is going to... Sorry, okay, never mind, I got confused. He is going to stay ahead of Billy Octane for now, but Billy Octane getting ever so close on the final lap here. Trying to go around the outside, thinking of a move maybe, but is not quite close enough to make a stick.
Oh, that might be all he needs.
Correa going too deep on the inside, gets a little bit loose, covers off Billy Octane on the outside, and that was almost close to contact there, but some great racing going on until the very end here.
Close racing, close quarters stuff. Svinček and Lawrence still going at it. This battle seems to be settled, at least for the moment. Correa holding on to the top 5 spot. I wonder if Octane will have one last ditch effort to potentially get that position away. Coming down mine shaft is Svinček and Lawrence, and this is that battle. No fight out front. I will say Svinček and Lawrence have closed in on Rubliar. It was 4.4 seconds, is now 3.6, but barring some catastrophic event, that won't change. What can Martin Lawrence do? 2 corners to go. Can Lawrence stick a nose in there? Potentially. No, it won't be the case. One last-ditch effort. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Chris Rubliar, Performance Racing Team, the number 17 Audi, is going to win the series finale here. And it will be Svinček second, Lawrence third, Boardman, and then Correa and Octane coming to the line after a valiant fight. Will finish 5th and 6th respectively. Harwood in 7th. Palma will show off and show out here in the finale and win in high silver over Bordai after having to make several passes and, of course, fending them off at the end. Pimlott rounds out the top 10, and Olaf Leffe, a valiant effort today, but will finish second in the championship, third in the final race. The rest of your finishers, Tom Bryant, Franken, Shelgren, Wig, Roberts, Lehman, McLaughlin finished in the garage, but for Thiago Lima, it will not matter. He will win the championship in Pro, and Shelgren is your high silver champion as well.
Yeah, what a race to finish off this season. I think there was excitement throughout the whole race. Those 40 minutes lasted past, and I think race 1 was just a little bit of a teaser of what happened in race 2. It was so many close battles happening on track for the lead, both silver and pro class, and has been a great way to describe the whole season, really. Well, apart from Thiago Lima absolutely bossing it for the first 7 rounds, and then a little bit teasing back and forth in the final rounds, so basically when he had secured the championship. But I'd say other than that, it's been super close, very unpredictable this championship, and been an absolute pleasure to commentate both with you and Ryan Wilson.
Absolutely. Likewise. Folks, if you like racing, then we are the place to be. Subscribe, hit the bell, join us for upcoming events. The start of the new Summer Friday Championship starts tomorrow. Myself, Jesse Lee, Mike Jones, and company in tow for that. Ryan Gill, in fact, I think is he's either on the call or the broadcast for that. But out of the way, the three of us bringing you the Friday Championship. Ryan Mawson, myself on Saturday for the Night Out Championship. I believe that's broadcasted by Nick Setnick again. And, well, we look forward to seeing you over the weekend. Come say hi. And we hope that you've enjoyed this championship as much as we have bringing it to you. It's had a little bit of everything. Tiago Lima dominating a lot of side-by-side racing, very competitive championship. There's been thrills, spills, and chills at every single race. Some surprise winners, including today. What more could you ask for? And I don't know this for sure, but imagine Season 4 of GT4 will happen sometime in the fall. Christian Stricker, final thoughts.
Well, yeah, I think you summed it up perfectly, to be honest. Yeah, well, I think it's the first full season I've done commentating here at RCI. I've done a few endurance races before, and in the meantime as well with the Suzuka 10 hours and the Paul Ricard 6 hours as well. So, yeah, it's been a good experience from my side as well. I've really enjoyed it. Getting to know the RCI crew a little bit better and starting to feel like becoming one of them. And it's been really good fun to commentate, and hopefully I'll be back to commentate some more series in the future here.
Well, that was my next question. Are you coming back? Did we scare you away yet?
No, I'm a little bit, but I can handle it. I can handle it.
That is hard truth coming from Christian Stricker there. No, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you and to have you on the broadcast. It's like you're like a duck in water, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Well, that is going to do it for us. Just once again, a big thank you to all of our partners, Race Department, AK Informatica, Driver 61, Fanatec, and Sim Racing GP for all of their support and support those that support us. And, of course, get yourself some driver training and coaching from Driver 61. Links in the description. Use our discount and get some of that. It will absolutely help you become a better race car driver. Well, on behalf of everybody here at RCI TV, we thank you for watching this championship. And when one wraps up, another one starts. So we will see you soon. On behalf of everybody, I'm Jesse Lee, Christian Stricker, and Stewie on the broadcast with you today. We thank you for watching, and we will all see you next time. Until then, have a good night and take care of yourself.